Hello everyone and welcome back to a brand new video. Today we're here with part 2 of our F1 driver career mode here at Williams for the Australian Grand Prix, our home Grand Prix here in this video. We bought more upgrades for this round. You can see we are now pretty much equal with Aston Martin heading into this one, so good to be making slight progress for now, and yeah, hopefully we can move a little bit further towards the points in this video. You can see here I have decided to actually just go on track for practice instead of using quick practice like I used to, because it still seems like there's that issue of engine parts wearing out too quickly if you use quick practice, and so I've decided I might not properly fully show practice every video, but maybe just little snippets like that in the intros as I actually do all the programs on track. But yeah, just letting you know of that little situation change there. But now we're heading straight into qualifying again for our home Grand Prix. This is our first Q1 lap, and we're going to try and get into Q2 here this time in Australia. Yeah, last time Albon was able to do it straight away in Bahrain. Well, we got knocked out, and so hopefully now with a bit of home Grand Prix power behind us, we can try and get into Q2. You can see we go P12 there for our first lap, but once everyone else has set their first laps, we sit P18, about 3/10 ahead of our teammates. So obviously we go for a second lap here and a second effort to try and get out of this first stage of qualifying. You can see through turn 1 we improved by a little bit, and as we cut to the end of the lap, you can see we're up by about 3.5 tenths, actually be about 4 tenths by the time we cross the line. So it's a nice improvement, and we cross the line, and it is enough for P15. So just like Albon in Bahrain, we just scraped through. You can see it's by about 2/300ths of a second over Zhou Guan Yu there in P16 in the Alfa Romeo. Albon ends up knocked out in P19, unfortunately, for our teammate. We were about 3/10ths up on him there in that session. But now we head into Q2 for the first time in our career. You can see running a little bit wide through turn 1 there, not completely ideal, and so yeah, just setting a banker lap here in Q2. Obviously we don't have that tyre rule anymore. We don't have to worry about, even if we do somehow luckily get into Q3, we don't have to worry about starting on a set of soft tyres. You can see we set the slowest time of all though on our first run. It really wasn't a great lap. You can see about 3/10ths off Schumacher in P14, so obviously we're going to go again for a second lap here in Q2. However, what I wasn't aware of is it's actually going to start to rain here on our second lap, and so you can see we come to the end of the lap, we're up by about 2/10ths of a second, 2-3 here as we come around the last corner, and there is a bit of rain on the halo there, so we could have improved by a bit more. The track did get very slippery in the second half of the lap, but in the end it is going to be P15. We're about 4/10ths off of our fellow Aussie Daniel Ricciardo there. But yeah, get into Q2 in our second round, our first home Grand Prix here in our career. Yeah, not bad. So yeah, can't complain too much. We're going to look to move forward in the race. I believe it's going to be a wet race here in Australia. So yeah, hopefully we can keep together and get a good result. But yeah, without further ado, we're going to move into the qualifying rundown and the Australian Grand Prix.
It's race day here in Melbourne as we continue with what could shape up to be one of the best Australian Grand Prix ever. We're a stone's throw from the enormous Port Phillip Bay for today's race at the 3.28-mile Albert Park circuit. It's a bumpy racing surface here, and the 14 corners could prove especially difficult in the wet conditions. So watch out for a safety car at some point during this Grand Prix. So with the race not far away from starting, here's what today's grid rundown looks like. Charles Leclerc lines up on pole position, and a very happy Carlos Sainz will start second. Considering the rest of the grid, we have Perez, Russell, and Sir Lewis Hamilton, and Norris, Bottas, Fernando Alonso, Ocon, and Kevin Magnussen, Verstappen, Mick Schumacher, Daniel Ricciardo, Benjamin, Joe, Tsunoda, Sebastian Vettel and Alex Albon, Stroll, and Pierre Gasly picks up the final grid slot. It's almost time for the lights to go out, so let's head down to the track where preparations are underway. It's not going to be plain sailing for our drivers today, although with the sky falling as it is, perhaps sailing isn't too far from the truth. Natalie Pinkham, good to have you with us here today. Your thoughts?
It is a touch damp, isn't it? As a driver, there are three big things to worry about when racing in these conditions: standing water, tyre temperature, and visibility. Judging distance to the cars around you is really tricky when you're driving through the vast amounts of spray that these wet weather Pirelli tyres kick up.
So here we are sitting in P14 on the grid for the Australian Grand Prix after Pierre Gasly gets an engine penalty in just the second round. So a little strange that he's taken that penalty so early. But yeah, I guess we'll take what we can get. You can see it is very wet here. We're still on the inters, so not full wet conditions, but it is raining quite heavily at our home race. And obviously it's going to be inters to inters on the strategy. However, it is meant to dry up, I'd say about 2/3 of the way into the race. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see how the order sort of changes around there and maybe what car's quicker in the wet compared to what is quicker in the dry. You can see Verstappen is in P11 there. So yeah, I believe he got knocked out in Q2, so he's going to be trying to move forward as well, and so we'll have to try and keep an eye on that as well. But we're going to go to 5 red lights for our home Grand Prix, and we are underway. It is actually a nice launch. We're going to get a better launch than our fellow Aussie there, Daniel Ricciardo. We do get a little all over the track, but we're still quicker off the line than most cars. I get stuck behind the two Haas cars and just have to back out of it as we head into turn 1, making sure we don't get any damage. A little bit of chaos happening around us up ahead, but we can't really see what it is because of all the spray. We're alongside Mick Schumacher there, but unfortunately getting caught on that outside curb at turn 2. We lost the traction a little bit, and there's actually damage there for Schumacher now as he runs up the back of his teammate, and so we go up the inside of turn 3. And there's going to be P12 here, so we've made up 2 net positions so far in this race, so couldn't really ask for a much better race start at this point of our career to be in P12 already. But yeah, I will say the car is feeling very, very hard to drive at this point. There is just a lot of understeer. The rear is all over the place, and the tyres are warm. You can see sliding through there, having to get out of it, and just making a little adjustment to the differential there and the brake bias, trying to get the car a little bit more under control. But you can see heading out of the final corner, having to be so ginger on the power. We've got 2.5 seconds to Ricciardo behind us. Schumacher was holding all those guys up now, but yeah, we'll see we're going to lose that gap very, very quickly as we cut to the end of lap 2, 1 lap, and Ricciardo has closed in 2 seconds to us there. You can see we're going so slow through the last corner, but still losing the rears. So I think we just don't quite have the right setup on this car. I did compromise in qualifying and put on a bit more of a wet-tailored setup, but it just doesn't seem to be working. You can see with the running order here, we've got Sainz leading the Grand Prix ahead of his teammate Leclerc, Perez 3rd, Alonso and Ocon actually in 6th and 8th there in the Alpines. Remember in the last one I was saying it won't be long before they're scoring points, and there they are, both of them getting decent points there for the French team. So yeah, I imagine we'll be losing out to them in the Constructors this weekend. Verstappen's already back in the points in P10, and we are under attack from our fellow Aussie Daniel Ricciardo as we head through the chicane here on lap 3. Luckily for us though, Ricciardo makes a little mistake on that exit curb, and that gets him under pressure now from Yuki Tsunoda in the AlphaTauri. He's going to go to the outside of the new designed corner here at the end of this back straight, but Tsunoda not able to make the move work as Ricciardo makes another mistake there though, and that allows Tsunoda to stay right on the back of him. Meanwhile, further back, Sebastian Vettel racing away with Pierre Gasly there, and that might help Albon make up a couple places later on. We'll just have to wait and see as we head onto the main straight. Ricciardo makes yet another mistake, so a lot of mistakes for Ricciardo here on this lap, and that's going to allow Tsunoda to the inside of turn 1. This is helping us stay ahead because we just do not have the pace of these guys. Look how much time. We've lost almost 3.5 seconds to Kevin Magnussen up ahead in the Haas in just about 2 laps there. Ricciardo holds position over Tsunoda, who now finds himself under threat from Zhou Guanyu, and further behind, Albon has made a move on Sebastian Vettel and the Aston Martin to get ahead of both of the Astons now at this stage, so he's made up a couple spots now in this Grand Prix. Good to see from our teammate, although points, yeah, I don't think they're going to be on the table here, man. I don't think they're going to be on the table for us either, because you can see here on lap 4, we are once again under threat from Ricciardo. It's now over 4 seconds to the cars ahead as we head into, I believe this is turn 16 here. I may be wrong, but we'll go with turn 16 as we get an alright exit out of there through the right hand of those. So ginger, and I just lose it on the exit curb. We hit the wall. We're out of the race. We've taken out our fellow Aussie with us as well, Daniel Ricciardo. And that is such a huge shame here. Just our second race in F1, and it's our home Grand Prix as well. Not only have we taken ourselves out here in Australia, we've also taken out the only other Australian, our fellow Aussie Daniel Ricciardo. And yeah, as you can imagine, we're going to lose a fair bit of driver acclaim for that one. As you can see, Sonoda just gets away with that there, almost running into the back of Ricardo. You can see here we're going to have a look at an off-board view of what happened as we just head through turn 17, I believe this is. You can see, just get on that AstroTurf there, and there was just zero grip. I was struggling as it was, let alone on the curb, an AstroTurf combination there. And that is us out of our home Grand Prix, only 4 laps in. We could have, you know, points, they could have been on the table. Should a safety car come out at the right time? Should the weather play into our hands? Should retirements, you know, you never know. To be in P12 so early on was such a good opportunity. But that's it, we are out.
A great race then, and a fantastic victory here at Albert Park. Natalie Pinkham, how do you think they were able to set themselves apart today?
Well, they have a car that comes alive in the conditions that we were dealing with today. It's a very balanced package in the wet, and what that means is the drivers have confidence to attack. Having that confidence gets you on the power earlier, gets you on the brakes later, and can put you a long way up the road.
Here come our winners now, a thrilling race and a tremendous effort by Ferrari. Their history is well known, so it's no surprise to fans the world over to see them come out on top once again.
So here we are with the results for the Australian Grand Prix. Sainz takes the win ahead of Perez, and then the 2 Mercedes in 3rd and 4th. Norris 5th. Verstappen gets himself up into 6th, so nice recovery from him there. The 2 Alpines of Alonso and Ocon 7th and 8th. Magnussen 9th, and Tsunoda rounds out the points. Now, if you remember, Tsunoda was behind us when we were still in the race. Albon has ended up in 13th, and Leclerc and Bottas both retired. So if we had been able to hold it together, or, you know, at least made it to the dry period where maybe the car setup would have worked a little bit better, or, who knows, then we had points. So, yeah, I guess it hurts even more now to have thrown away those points. Now, we a little bit of a different driver standings, instructor standings here, because I made a mistake of accidentally advancing time, but either way, you can see Sainz leads the way in the championship now by 11 points over Perez, so yeah, the second drivers from real life are leading the championship here in the driver career mode, so nice to see those little differences here in the alternate reality we're sort of creating. As I was saying, we've now lost in the Constructors as well. We're now down to 9th after Alpine score 10 points for themselves pretty massively. They jumped right up to 6th from, I believe they were in 9th heading into this one as well. But yeah, that really sucks. So you can see there, the driver acclaim takes a massive, massive hit. We're now pretty much right back to where we started, almost at the start of level 1. So we've got a lot of work to do if we want any chance of getting a good contract for next season, even really retaining our contract here with Williams as it stands. You know, we had a nice time out in Bahrain last time, which helped us, but yeah, not this time in Australia. So, just to sort of buff out the video a little bit and try and mask the fact that we had such a horrible time in Australia, and also to get a little bit of a driver acclaim boost here, we're going to do the Imola Pirelli Hot Lap here for the average speed zone, where you pretty much just got to keep your average speed up for, yeah, the duration of the little sector that we've got here. So, you can see, for the first run that we did this, we did complete this in the first run here, so getting it done nice and quickly there. I have, you know, I quite enjoy these cars as in the game as they are at the moment. It'd be nice if we could race them, but yeah, I don't mind these Pirelli Hot Laps. You can see crossing the line there, and we do complete the objective by just under 1 kilometre per hour. You do have to do all 3 attempts that it gives you, even if you beat it in the first one, but now that we have beat it, it's pretty much no risk. I just want to see how much I can actually beat this target by now. So we don't have to worry about track limits, because if we go out, it doesn't really matter because we've already achieved the goal. You can see really pushing it, no caution this time, really sliding out, and a massive drift as we get on the power, just not backing out of that as we head into the very fast right-hander here. The cars are very difficult to control in the wet. I will say that you can see getting right out on the white lines to make sure we extend this track and carry as much speed as possible. Nice big wheel spin moment there, and we do improve there by maybe 0.1, 0.2 kilometre per hour there. and yeah, not bad. So even though we've improved again, you know, we've got to do the third attempt, and I'm going to give this absolutely everything, absolute, you know, full pedal here on this third attempt. So here we go, going up the gears. I will say, I don't know about the engine sounds. They're not horrible, but you know, they do work, I guess, for the F1 game. You can see I have a better run out of the left-hander there than I did in the last attempt, but as we head into the double right-hander here, I just got a little bit too much over that curb, sped a little bit too much into this section. I've gone right out wide there. We don't invalidate it at all, but as we get on the power, you can see another big slide, and we actually don't even meet the gold target for this one. We do meet the silver, but that doesn't matter anyway because we got gold in the first attempt. So it is gold there, and it's going to be nice 1,000 extra acclaim there, and that does help us get into, I believe, driver acclaim 2 or driver acclaim 3 or something. Yeah, it was a massive amount. So yeah, I guess yeah, when you have bad weekends like the one we had in our home Grand Prix, these Pirelli Hot Laps can really help you out. You can see we get a bit of experience there for the podium pass, and there we go with our 1,000 extra driver acclaim to our name there. As we head back to the screen, you can see in the top right, driver acclaim level 3. So we've actually ended up in a better driver acclaim situation than we came into this video with. But that is all for this video, guys. If you did enjoy the absolute mess that was the Australian Grand Prix for us, do make sure to leave a like and subscribe if you want to see more content like it in the future. And I'll see you all in the next one. Goodbye.